Okay, good morning, everybody. I'll call the meeting of the Madison Metropolitan Sewerage District to order. Welcome to all of our guests. Do we have anybody virtually yet? Commissioner Bookland is virtual. I don't know if Commissioner Pulse is supposed to be virtual too. We'll see if he's able to join. Okay, then the Commissioners Clark, Freeze, Ankala, Murphy, Meyer, Havel are in the room. Okay, Dan's on, I think I heard him say. Okay, good. Cassie, you want to go through the virtual meeting guidance, please?
Good morning, Commissioners, members of the public, and staff. To help us have a smooth meeting, I'm going to review just a few decorum rules for all. While the Commission and staff are in person, we are still offering a Zoom option so members of the public can attend. If you are attending virtually and would like to speak, you can do so during appearances by the public. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and streamed live on YouTube, and the public chat has been disabled, but you can still send messages to the host if need be. Finally, Commissioners, please use your microphones while speaking and make sure your voice is directed towards the mic. When you are not speaking, please ensure your mic is off so others can utilize the mics. As a reminder, only 3 of the table mics can be live at a time. Also, please state your name before speaking for those who may be joining us via Zoom. Those are the decorum rules of the District Commission. Thank you for following them, and let's have a great meeting.
Okay, thank you, Cassie. That will take us to appearances by the public, or not, we didn't have any announcements. So any appearances by the public? Okay, seeing none. Move on to the consent calendar. So we have several items on the consent calendar. The meeting minutes approval from the last meeting of April 30th. Cash statement, capital, cash statement debt services fund. We have a couple sewer extension plans. One in the city of Madison, and another is relocation in Kaganza Sanitary District between Exchange Street and Larson Beach Road. Review of bids and award a contract grit channel lining. Review of bids and award a contract Fremont Lift Station wet well structural repair and grading replacement. And then approve transaction amount of professional services agreement to the biosolids facilities plan. Anybody have any questions on any of those items? The biosolids facility plan, we put a do not exceed, and now they want to do some additional work, so that's why they're... Okay, so do we have a motion to approve?
Commissioner Freeze, I'll move approval.
Motion by Commissioner Freeze, second by...
Commissioner Meyer, I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Meyer to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? None, motion carries. Thank you. That means we'll move on to topics. Acceptance of the commission reporting schedule. Eric?
Thank you, Commissioner Hovell. Eric Mendy, Executive Director. I'm here today as the next step in our strategic planning process and district implementation. So last meeting, we approved the strategic plan through the key performance indicators. This meeting, the goal is to have the commission review what we would consider the reporting schedule and provide any feedback. So just for those on the screen, but then also in the packet, is the attachment of what we would consider the full calendar of the meetings and updates that we would be providing. I'm going to go into each one of these separately, but this is what it looks like as a one-pager. So we have existing reports. We have the Executive Director Performance existing report. Right now that is quarterly, summary of the goals. That is also considered right now a work in progress with the Executive Director Performance Review Subcommittee. The operations report that we do monthly is a look back at the previous month's plant performance. Resource recovery report, which is quarterly. For those, just as a quick reminder, that is about how much clean water produced, reused, biogas, things like that. And then we do the capital projects update. One thing here that I am looking for specific feedback from the commission after the presentation is we have proposed that the capital updates would move to twice a year instead of quarterly. That is for two reasons. One, based on the amount of other reporting we're going to be doing, and some of the three-year plan projects are the capital projects. The other part is just knowing the amount of reporting that we're going to be doing. Maybe we should look at changing the cadence of that. New reports. So the three-year plan. Next meeting, we are planning to present you with the projects that we consider in the three-year plan for the district's strategic plan. These are the highest level, most important projects for the district that we believe the commission should be paying attention to. We would give updates on that quarterly, and then also financial reporting. So this is something we've been working with the Finance Committee on and doing the quarterly reports, and that would be also a retrospective look. And then we move into the KPIs. So these are all new. As we talked about the key performance indicators with the commission, I believe the commission realized this and staff does too. Some of the data availability is not relevant to be done on a monthly basis or on even a quarterly basis. So we wanted to kind of just walk through each one of these as this is when you are going to get that information. So in the financial capacity and resilience area, we have the balanced relative reserves. That is something that is reviewed and taken into consideration during budget time. So we have that as a one-time look for the district and the commission to see. That also lets us review versus commission policies. And then we have the spending in line with at-risk assets. We've talked about that as a little bit of jargon, the NESI curve. The idea here is we'd be reporting on that in September as part of the annual report. The expectation for us as staff at this point is those type of KPIs that we are developing, you're going to get more of a progress report on how we're developing those, not necessarily data yet. So those are in development. Infrastructure reliability, we have our planned maintenance. That is something we are discussing as just being part of the monthly report. That could be done in the operations report or attached to that. And then asset condition, one of those other items that, and critical OT/IT, those are two separate KPIs, but those are both in development. So once again, progress reports on those. Regulatory compliance. We have our CMAR reporting, which is actually coming up very soon, but that's a once-a-year item. Same thing with the North American Clean Water Agency's NACWA Peak Performance Awards. And then we also want to make sure we note that treatment plant performance is still considered our operations report. Then we have public trust. These are both items that we're going to be working on in the future here. Looking at these as slow-moving metrics, I won't talk about these specifically separate, but they're slow-moving metrics, every other year type of way of judging these type of things. We don't want to be immediate asking for surveys and information back all the time. We also want to make sure that we can develop plans to improve if we want to or maintain. So with that, using the one-pager as reference, here's the resolution number, but once again, just to recap, I am specifically looking for a little bit of feedback on CIP progress report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Anybody have any thoughts on the CIP progress? Greg?
Yeah, so Commissioner Freeze, so first I kind of agree, Eric, but I think it's important maybe to step back and say why we were asking for this, right? And we asked for this starting a couple of years ago because I think we were seeing at the end of the year, right, we had these huge capital budgets and we were only spending half or a little bit more than half of the money. So we were kind of asking for an update along the way. We're way better this year, right? Our last finance committee, we talked about that from the capital perspective. We are way better at hitting that target this year than we have been. So I'm perfectly comfortable.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Ezra?
Commissioner Meyer here. I see these as really valuable. I think Lisa does a really great job with them. I was, since seeing, this in the agenda, I was sort of torn about 4 times a year versus twice, but I think twice can work. When I zoom out and think about it, it's infrastructure work drives such a huge, chunk of our budget, so much of our work, so much of our staffing involved in it. It's super important. And I think to stay on top of how things are progressing on all those different fronts that are happening at once is really valuable. But I think if we go to twice a year with all this other reporting happening too, I think it fits nicely into the grand scheme. So thanks for asking, Eric.
Commissioner Paltz, you have your hand up? Dan?
Yeah, the thing is, I understand 2 times a year, but I would say we should do it more towards maybe July and November or something like that, because I don't think there's as much good information the first couple quarters, but I think towards the end to see how it's going, like halfway through the year and then before year end is done. Sorry if there's a lot of noise where I'm driving right now. That's it.
Okay. Okay, so Greg.
Yeah, Commissioner Free, so one last thought I had here, Eric, is I kind of am assuming that if something was going really wrong, right, and you would bring that to the commission and just let us know as either part of your director's report or Alan's or Jen's.
Yeah, that's exactly the way we were thinking about this, is that we would have these 2 touch points. The 3-year plan will have some of these CIP projects in them, so they're already going to have quarterly updates just as part of those. But then, yes, of course, the expectation would be if things are not going well or it's something the commission needs to know about. And I would like to address Commissioner Paltz's question about the timing. Some of this, and I heard July, Commissioner Paltz, is important to talk about because we also will be doing CIP presentations with our capital planning manager. Todd Giebert will have those type of updates too. So these, what we are proposing, are what I would call the formal CIP updates, but you'll be getting updates throughout the year on all these projects too. Thank you.
Okay, so just what's the resource recovery report? Is that the Metro Grow and all that? Because isn't that kind of almost done regularly with the operations report on every month? You're going to switch that to quarterly?
That's actually a quarterly slide. Yeah, so there's we always do the plant performance monthly, but then it is actually quarterly for that. We call it the extra bonus slide.
I guess I never really noticed that it came quarterly. I do know there are some months when it's just over, but okay. Brad.
Yeah, I asked you a question about why the timing on reporting on the capital projects, and you answered that question and wanted to indicate that I think it is, it's fine to report on the capital projects in March and then as a lead-in to the preparation of the CIP, either in July or August, Dan had suggested.
Okay. My thought, I was wondering about 3 times a year, every 4 months. What I don't want to do is, I know there was one time they weren't really doing capital project updates, and then when one was given, it was really, really long, and it got Tom Wilson a little upset. The length of it went on and on and on. So I don't want, these reports should be concise and sufficient and not giving us, sometimes we get down into the weeds and sometimes our questions do. But I just want to make sure that sometimes, particularly in August, you could have loaded agendas and some of our commissioners have other business to attend to later in the day. I don't want things dragging on. So that's that timing but I think we can do the twice a year and we can see how it goes and, maybe give direction, 15 minutes or something. Pick out the high points because we don't always have to hear about every project you already talked about 6 months earlier. If everything's going fine, you can just say it's green or yellow, and because we discussed earlier, so. Okay, so, we have a motion to approve the, reporting schedule according with the resolution that's up on the screen.
Murphy, I'll move approval of, the resolution.
Commissioner Meyer.
I'll second it.
I'll go.
Go ahead, Ezra.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Murphy, second by Commissioner Clark, to accept the reporting schedule in accordance with Resolution 2026-05-14R6. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Beth, are you there? Okay, we'll go with motion carries. Okay, that takes us to reports. Executive Director update, Eric?
Yep, thank you. Two reports. First one is, commissioners should have seen an invite for the Capital Improvement Plan technical session that we are planning Tuesday, June 2nd. Just as a note on that invitation, that is just an offering, that is not required. It is also something that will be recorded, so if you want to watch it or listen to it later, most of what I can say in that presentation you will see and hear about again shortly after that. So that's the first update. And then the second update is based on the sewer use ordinance. So last fall, Amanda Wegner, Communications and Public Relations Manager, and Vanessa Wishart, Legal Counsel, provided the Commission with an update on the work to update the district's sewer use ordinance. Over the last 6 weeks, we've communicated the updates to impacted stakeholders, and the next step is to hold the public hearing, which will take place at next Commission meeting, May 28th. That public hearing will be at 10 a.m., and commissioners are invited to stay for that. The updated sewer use ordinance will be brought to the Commission at the June 11th meeting, and it becomes effective upon publication. So if commissioners are interested in seeing a summary of the changes, they're available on the district's website. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Community reports. Commissioner Meyer, Executive Director of Performance.
This is Commissioner Meyer. We just met earlier this week, and we, I think, are on schedule to have one more meeting with NGT, our consultants, on the performance review process, and then we're slated to come back here June 11th and bring that all back to the Commission for everyone to digest a bit and hopefully feel good about enough that we can move forward with it and start to use it right away in July is the plan. So that's where we're at. Hopefully see the whole Commission in June.
Okay. Greg, anything on finance? Nothing. Okay. And then regulatory and legal, Vanessa.
Good morning, Commissioners. Vanessa Wishart, Legal Counsel for the district. A couple of updates I want to point out that are in the packet today, mostly on the DNR side of things. So we have a couple of rules at the DNR that have been, where the economic impact analysis has been open for public comment. One were the groundwater standards for PFAS. I worked with district staff on getting comments submitted for the district on that, the economic impact analysis for those groundwater rules. That will then go back to DNR to evaluate. Eventually, there will be a public comment period on the rule language, the standards themselves, but this is focused on what the economic impacts of that rule would be. The updates DNR is doing to NR 110 and 108 regarding facility planning, though that rule is also open for public comment on the economic impact analysis. And then DNR also has available for public comment right now, just recently, its interim guidance on land application for biosolids, where they are making a number of changes with respect to what their, the requirements for when you can land apply biosolids that contain different levels of PFAS. I pulled, just for your reference, I pulled the tiers into the regulatory report so that you can see those. One of the main points is where they're changing the upper limit of when you can land apply biosolids, pulling that down from 150 parts per billion to 100. The district's biosolids have been well under that and in compliance with the guidance as it's been drafted. But I will be working with district staff, on submitting comments on that guidance as well. That's all I have, but happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I got a question. So they had to do these economic impact analysis for, say, NR 110 and 108, probably the big one right now with the facility plan. Do they actually take that into account, or do they just, so if they realize, and I don't know if we're commenting on it or not, about how much more cost putting on, and so that wouldn't be for not just construction and design, but also operation, I take, right? Economic impact analysis?
Yes, so in that, one of the big impacts of the economic impact analysis is that if DNR estimates the impacts of a rule at over $10 million in a 2-year time frame, that rule then has to go to the legislature for additional approval before it can pass. With the facility planning guidance, they're actually estimating no economic impacts because the rule is intended largely to streamline facility planning processes. You know, whether it does that, I think, is something I'll discuss with staff, and whether, you know, there are some things that they're imposing here that would amount to some costs, at least for utilities. But I was involved in the stakeholder group for that rule development in particular, and I do think the goal of getting the rule, which has not been updated in a very long time, more in line with how utilities are actually doing facility planning, that's really what the purpose of this rule update is.
Okay, so then I have another question. They do economic impact analysis on a lot of this, but when it comes time to your permit, they're making adjustments in permit levels, and apparently they don't require they don't do an economic impact analysis at that point. So there seems to be a disconnect to me. You understand what I'm saying? On one hand, they do these things, like the facility plan and everything else, but on the other hand, they're putting these rules in that may have a high cost to a sewer district, and they apparently don't do an economic impact analysis. So, you know, then you have to go through a facility plan in order to make your update to your plant progression in order to handle the rules that they're putting in place. So it seems like there's kind of this disconnect. They do it at one level, but, you know, they have an awful lot of authority at that lower level, not subject to it.
Yeah, I think I understand the comment. You're correct that when it comes to actual permitting, there's no specific economic impact analysis involved there. It does highlight why it's important for utilities to be involved in the rule development process, because ideally you would be explaining to the department, when these rules become effective, here's how economically that's going to affect us, partly potentially due to new standards we would get in our permit. So on the economic impact analysis for the groundwater standards rules, the district staff did a great job of putting together actual costs the district thinks it may incur if that should be included in that economic impact analysis. But you're right, it's based on kind of an extrapolation of when these rules are adopted, how do we see that affecting our utility, including in permitting. You have to really try to think that through, because there's not another opportunity to comment on economic impacts.
And that's what I was wondering about the facility plan, what they were doing, if they were making things more difficult, because everything's getting more expensive with not just construction, but with design and everything too. Okay, so anybody else have any questions? Thank you, Vanessa. That will take us to the future meeting schedule. That's in the packet. I have that up right now. Let's see. So then we get into the commission may convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.85 paren 1 paren G for purpose of conferring with legal counsel for the commission who is rendering advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the commission with respect to WPDES permit number WI 0024597-10-0 issued to the district. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make that motion, Commissioner Clark.
Motion by Commissioner Clark. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Freeze, I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Freeze to go into closed session. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bookland,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
Commissioner Freeze,
Aye.
Commissioner Hovell,
Aye.
Commissioner Longkella,
Aye.
Commissioner Lytle,
Aye.
Commissioner Meyer,
Aye.
Commissioner Murphy,
Aye.
Commissioner Paltz.
Aye. 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 if
Okay,
you haven't heard
motion
me.
carries. Yep, we heard you. Motion carries, both persons, everybody voted aye. So the two virtual and all members in person. Are you ready, Cassie? Okay, so we had a motion by Commissioner Murphy, second by Commissioner Meyer to move back into open session. We did a roll call vote. All were in ayes. So here we are back in open session. So I'm going to do we have a motion to authorize the executive director to work with legal counsel to file a contested case with respect to WPDES permit number WI002459-7-10-0.
This is Commissioner Freeze, I would make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Freeze. Do we have a second?
Murphy, I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Murphy. Okay, all those in favor, we don't need a roll call, correct? All those in favor say aye.
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 And let the record note that Commissioners Meyer and Longkella were recusing themselves due to working with the DNR, by the DNR. Okay, motion carries. Let's see. Then any future agenda topics? Any other business? Motion to adjourn, Ken.
Commissioner Clark, motion to adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Clark, second by
Commissioner Freeze, second.
Second by Commissioner Freeze to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.